Thank you, Sarah, for teaching us today. I want to follow up for the first questions about anger. It's I guess a different definement I'm dealing with right now, which is restlessness and worries. I don't know, I just feel a lot of them this year. I think there's lots of things into that. But yeah, I want to hear if you have any advice to deal with restlessness and worries. Yeah, thank you. And maybe I can provide some context. Like I think the things like jobs, wars, economy, inflations, lots of things are changing in this world, and I think yeah, somehow I just kind of constantly get worries thinking about them. Thank you.
In the Pali scriptures, when we read about the reasons why people become monks and nuns, we learn that they become monks and nuns because the household life, the lay life, is dusty, and because it cannot be pure. What does that mean, that it's dusty? It is dusty because it covers the purity of the mind. It covers the shine of the pure mind by problems, by greed, by hatred, by jealousy. Lay life is like that. In Sri Lanka, they say, Gihi ge, Gini ge. Gihi means lay peoples. Ge is house. Gihi ge, the house of lay people. Gini ge. Gini is fire. It's house on fire. House of lay people is a house on fire. So when you live your lay life, it is already expected that you will have to go through restlessness and worry. Think of Patachari. Patachari was a lady who was married. She had 2 children, or 3, I don't remember. And then at one point they were walking through a forest. Her husband was looking for some food at night, and before he would return, he died. In the morning she found him dead because a snake bit him. And she continued, and she had to cross a river. Then as she was crossing her river, all of her children died. She lost all of her children. She arrived at home and she saw that her parents are dead and her house is burned to ashes. She lost everything. How do you know that this cannot happen to you? You don't. That's part of lay life. Now, if you are a monk, that would be a different situation. Because if a monastery burns that a monk owns, well, especially in the Buddhist countries, doesn't much matter. He just goes to a different village, or he just stays under a tree and goes to the village for alms. But if the person is a layperson, and moreover they have children, which monks usually don't, then this is not a cause of suffering. So it is always better to be a monk or a nun if you want to be free from all restlessness and worry. Now, what if you don't want to be a monk and a nun and you still want to be free from restlessness and worry? Then you will have to accept that you will never come to the level of the monastic life. There are some suggestions, but they will never be reliable to the level of monastic life. So as a layperson, you can reduce your restlessness and worry through following the 5 precepts very strictly. If you follow the 5 precepts very strictly and you have faith in the Buddha, then you always return in your mind. You always remind yourself that you follow the 5 precepts. And the 5 precepts and the 3 refuges, these 8 things, they are the ultimate protection from anything at all. Because if you die, it doesn't really matter in terms of your next birth. Of course, it matters a lot, but if you are afraid of your next birth, then you are sure that in your next life you will be born in a good realm, good world. And this is not my idea. This is, of course, coming from the scriptures. So in our scriptures, there's a nice story where a gentleman receives the 3 refuges and 5 precepts, probably from a monk, and he goes for a long travel by a ship. He boards the ship with many other people who did not take anything like that, no refuges, no precepts, and they travel. And at one point, as they're in the sea or in the ocean, the ship starts to sink. And now everyone around runs around, screams, and worships their gods. No help. They're stressed, they're depressed, they're sad, they're angry, they're desperate. But this one man is sitting there on the floor of that ship, and he's just meditating. He's calm. He doesn't care. So the people come up to him and they say, hey, the ship is sinking. What are you doing here? And he says, well, I have nothing to worry about. I took 3 refuges and 5 precepts, so I know that my next life is a good life. And they say, okay, so give us these 3 refuges and the 5 precepts. So then this lay person, I will repeat, this lay person, not a monk, then gives 3 refuges and 5 precepts to the 500 people who are there with him on the ship. And the story goes that although they all die in the sea or ocean, they are all reborn in heaven, just because they took the 3 refuges and the 5 precepts. So this doesn't mean that we take 3 refuges and 5 precepts and then we go to die. No, that's not the intended meaning. The intended meaning is that if you take 3 refuges and 5 precepts with faith, then you can reduce your restlessness and worry because you are well protected by these 3 refuges. That's why we call them refuges. Refuge is a place where you go for protection. The word sarana, which is the Pali word for refuge, also means home. So there you can think of them as a triple home, the place where you go for safety, the place where you have all what you need, the place that serves as a basis for your life, for whatever you do. So that's Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. So that's one way how you can reduce your restlessness and worry. Another is to think about your attitudes toward the world. If you realize that every moment of this life, of this human life, is precious, it is precious because it doesn't need to be there. Anytime you can die. How come that this moment I'm not dead and this another moment I'm still not dead? I could be. And another moment, and another moment, and another moment. And like this, you have billions of moments every single day. You can observe the present moment and be there with the present moment and appreciate that you are still alive. And with this appreciation that you're still alive, maybe your worry and restlessness will decrease because you will be happy, you will be joyful that you're still alive, although nobody could guarantee that you will be. Okay, and then it's the last suggestion. To reduce restlessness and worry, it is good to engage in generosity. in morality and in meditation. The more you practice merits every day, every time you get a chance, you can be happy. You can be satisfied that you're making use of your time the best you can. So then anytime a cause of restlessness and worry appears, you don't need to worry because you know that you do the best you can.
Thank you. Very good answer. Thank you.